Hey guys, here we are for a short track guide in the street stocks at USA International Speedway. For this track guide, I'm going to show you my onboard lap first, and then I'm going to break down the lap in slow motion and show my approach to each corner. For this track guide, I'm using the baseline fixed Lakeland or USA setup with a steering ratio of 14:1 and a brake bias of 56%. Now let's get on to the lap. Okay, now let's break down that lap in slow motion. So before I start the lap, there's a few things to mention. So first of all, this baseline fixed setup, the Lakeland setup, is already a bit loose, so you got to take that into consideration. And second of all, even though it's not the middle of the day, even though it's 6:56 in game, the track temp is still 84 degrees. It's pretty hot, so that means it's going to be pretty slick, and you have to be cautious of the car sliding on exit. So as we're getting out of the final corner to start a lap, giving ourselves a wide exit to get back to full speed, back to full throttle quite early, and getting back on the straight, trying to get up right against the wall for a wide approach into turn one. And as you cross the finish line, our rev limiter is going to light up here, and approaching turn one, we're going to be using this light on the fence as a brake marker, but we're actually going to be turning in a little bit before that. So you can see we're already putting in some rotation to the wheel, getting on the brakes just a little bit before this light. And as we pass this pit cone here, as we get to the grass, you can see that we're still quite wide of the apex. We're not down to this curb yet, and that's because there's so much grip down there, and with the car that's already a bit loose, that's going to cause a lot of over rotation. So we're going to be trying to get a late apex in here just to minimize the turning input, just to make sure that our rear tires don't slide. So again, starting to trail off the brake, getting down to this curb quite late. You can see we're just about down to it as the grass on this inside starts. So you can see there's no grass early on, and then it starts around here. So try to use that as a reference point of when to get down to the apron. You can see we're modulating the throttle through 1 and 2 just to minimize any rear instability. Getting back on the throttle, and you can see that we're having to counter steer just because that small adjustment from partial throttle to full throttle upsets the rear of the car. As you get back to full throttle, you can see the car's gonna get a bit loose. So we're gonna have to put some counter steer in the car, but make sure to keep the throttle pinned so you don't lose momentum down the back straight. Now, as we approach turn 3, we're not actually going to be using this light as a reference mark. Instead, we're going to be looking on the track, and you can see these dashed marks on the track. That's going to be our brake marker just a bit later into the corner. Once again, using around 40% brake pressure, and we're going to be getting to the curb a lot earlier than in turns 1 and 2. And that's because there's actually a little less grip in 3 and 4, so you're not going to have as much over-rotation in the rear. And so staying out wide and then trying to cut back to the curb is just going to lose you a bit more time. Once again, being partial throttle through the middle of the corner and then getting back to full throttle. Then using up all the track on exit. Once again, the car's going to be a little bit loose on exit, using a little bit of counter steer, making sure to use up all the track though. And then once you come to the line, that's a lap around USA International Speedway. So that was a lap time of a 22.986. Once again, here are the settings that were used. Hope that track guide was helpful. Thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed.